So after almost 3 years since their debut effort, Ghost have released their sophomore album, Infestissumam. And yeah, genuinely, I was somewhat excited for this album. For the most part, I enjoyed Opus Eponymous. I had tracks on there that I still enjoy. I sometimes throw into rotation every now and then. So with this, I was wondering what Ghost would potentially bring to the table with their second release. And it's been delayed here in the States, but chances are, if you're following any news on this band whatsoever, you probably knew that due to some offensive, use that in quotation marks, offensive artwork that distributors didn't necessarily agree with, which, freedom of speech, fuck you. Anyway, this album is on a lot of people's lists for the most anticipated metal album of 2013. And I gotta say, after listening to this album twice, gave it 2 listens, so that way I could be sure whether or not this was worthy of being on that list, I have to say no. This album is a very, very disappointing sophomore effort from Ghost. In fact, I want to go as far as to say it should be the inverse of one of the best albums of 2013. It should actually be one of the worst. I like to think of it like this. If your knowledge of cinema, is you're very adept in that field. This is like watching a Michael Bay Transformers film. To the uneducated and the uninitiated, this would be, oh look, pretty explosions. Oh man, that looks nice and pretty. But there's no plot or any substance. It's pure garbage. That's how I like to think about this album and its position within the metal community. I'm going as far as to say, if you are a fan of heavy metal, you probably should not like this album. That's how bad it is. It's not even metal. That's the best part about all of this, is that this is an album that's like, yeah, this is going to be the best fucking album of 2013 fucking metal. It's not even close to metal. In fact, there's an entire song in this album that sounds like surf rock. I mean, it's not even close. Opus Eponymous actually had a heavy, distorted guitar sound. Good luck finding it in Infestissumam. You won't. You can't. Because it's drowned out by things like synthesizers, choirs, and somehow it's drowned out by the lead singer's weak voice, which is still a big problem that I had with Opus. I didn't really care that much about it because the instruments made up for it. Now, since all the instruments are gone, that's at the forefront. And it's still bad. They can keep on going on and putting on this whole this theater kind of performance. They can go up there and look like some kind of papal version of King Diamond all they want. But that's not going to sell records after a while. You can only do this for so long. We saw it in the 80s. The 80s, you had stuff like thrash metal, you had early forms of black metal, and then you had hair and glam metal. Hair and glam over here being all the style with no substance. And look at where they are now. Some of them are still slipping through the cracks and making albums today and still selling a halfway decent amount. But Ghost is going to wind up going down that path unless they learn that this whole theater stage thing it's got to go. As a metal album, it's not. You can't. There's no possible way that anybody in their right mind can consider this heavy metal. It's not. In fact, probably the best way that I could think of this is not even almost to the level of soft rock. That's how bad this is. This is something that is completely conditioned for radio play, which it won't get because they write lyrics about Satan and hell and all this, and that never does fly on the radio unless you're dealing with a college radio station, if those even exist anymore. I can't give this album anything. I can't. It's just don't buy it. Don't. It's going to sell anyway. I don't even know why I'm attempting to try to sway people not to buy it, because you people are either going to download it or buy it anyway. One of the two. But the fact of the matter is that I see this album getting rave reviews. 4 and 5s. 4 and 5s out of 5. 8 and 9 out of 10. I see it left and right. I see all these people loving this album, and I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I don't get it. But when it comes to metal, this is hitting so far off the mark. I mean, their destination was Asia, and they landed in South America. Yeah. Completely different continents, completely different lands, completely different people. I'm not even going to bother giving this album a grade out of 10. It's not worth my time. The only thing I can say is, don't buy it. It's bad. If you want, I guess unless you're into soft rock, then you'll probably buy it. But from a metal standpoint, forget it. Danny here from Metal Couch, signing off.